Hello, Internet, and welcome to episode 36 of Verbal Graffiti with your host, Brian Glass, aka the B-Man, the People's Degenerate. I have a smile on my face. I am lying to all you with my body language right now because I am very upset. I just dropped my phone and I shattered the glass protector thing, cover case thing. This is my second replacement. First one I put on, worked well, but there was a little bit of dirt right in the middle of my screen. So when I would watch YouTube videos or smut, I would just notice the dirt. And so I had to get a new one, took it off, cleaned it off, put the new one on. But I'm not good with like pressing down on it to get rid of all the air bubbles. So I had a couple of bubbles near the edges, which did not bother me. And I've had this for a few months now, but I just dropped it. And I think that's what caused the shatter. And I don't know if it's just, I don't like wrinkles. I iron all my clothing. I'd go on vacation with buddies of mine and I would iron everybody's clothes. I'm not a neat freak, but I am a bit of a clean weirdo. And a phone with shattered, like the shattered spider lines, glass. I can't have that. I can't have that in my life. It's imperfection. I'm not a perfectionist, but those lines, I'm gonna have to spend another $30 on a screensaver thing. And oh, I was having such a good day till then. It's just now. I'm gonna have to find one online, and it's a whole to do, like because, oh, oh, what? It's a screen. Get over it, B-Man. Get over it. Get into the episode. Okay, episode 36, better posture. We've talked about that in previous episodes. Trump got convicted, felon. I'm not here to judge people, even though that's kind of what this show is I read Reddit posts and I judge whoever wrote the post. But I don't want to judge like real people. I'm here for solutions. I'm here to solve problems. I was thinking about, okay, so President Trump, ex-president, he's a felon. What should we do? And I have given it some thought, and this is how I'm going to reunify the nation together. Okay? So he's a felon. I want Trump to go to prison for his felonies. I don't know how long, but this is the key. So he's in prison, but then I also want Trump to get reelected president. So that way, both sides are happy. The left, they're happy that Trump's in prison. The right, they're happy that Trump's the president. Win-win for everybody. Let's drink some tall boys and have a party. I think I should be a political advisor for both parties. Fuck both parties. Let's get into the episode. Hopefully I can read these Reddit posts with my shattered screen. Oh, really does bother me. Let's get into it. Get your head into the game. This one comes from the subreddit Sex Dolls. Oh, baby. This was harder than I thought. I'm sure it was. This was Wendy. She was my first doll. At 5'10" tall, 5'10" tall and 130 pounds, she was just way too big and heavy with an enormous ass and thighs. I just got a good deal on her that was too good to pass up at $460. We'll get back to that price. I have since bought several other slimmer and lighter dolls. I live in a densely populated community, and there was no way for me to get her out of my house without someone seeing me carrying her out, so this was the only option to discreetly discard of her in a dumpster that some contractors left out on the curb. I'm going to miss her a lot. Again, being honest, this episode, I will say I've had this one saved in the chamber for quite some time now, maybe even upwards of a month real time, because these photos are unsettling to me. And I've given this a lot of thought about how to approach somebody with a sex doll, and just the photos, they haven't given me nightmares, but I do look at these photos. They make me feel uneasy. queasy, even a little bit nauseous. I have a weak stomach. That's why I hardly ever do shots of anything other than tequila. And even when I do those, I do need a chaser of a soda. Back to the sex doll, Brian. Back to the sex doll. Um, I'm not a rat. I am not a rat. I would never rat you out for tearing apart your sex doll. So you don't worry about me. But if somebody in your apartment complex went to the authorities claiming you did a crime, tearing apart a sex doll, I would not condemn that person for doing so, because this does look this does resemble a crime scene. I mean, we have a body that's dismembered, and I mean, that is a crime scene. When there's a body and there's an arm over here and there's a leg over there and there's a skull in the corner of the room, that's when you put the caution tape. You bring in the detectives. You get the flashlight with the white dust to find the fingerprints. The easy thing to do here is to make fun of the John for buying a sex doll. I'm not going to do that. We do not kink shame here at Verbal Graffiti. Obviously, look at my backdrop. I would never criticize someone for their sexual flavors. The thing with this one is, though, when you have a sex doll and you put it on Reddit, everybody's going to assume you did unspeakable acts to it. And when I read your post, I get the sense, the B-Man gets the sense that that's what they started out as. You're a John, you bought a sex doll, an inanimate object to do foul things to sexually in and outside of Wendy. But over time, things changed. This went from being an inanimate object to this gray zone area where you viewed this sex doll as like half doll, half real human, where you started off just railing inside of Wendy and just using her as a cum dumpster. But over time, you caught the feels for this sex doll. And I say that because of what you said in your post. You didn't just say, oh, this was my doll. No. You gave a name to her, Wendy, which I believe is a lovely name for a sex doll and or real human being, a female or male. No. For a female name. You know everything about her. You know her height, 5'10". You know her weight of, 130 pounds. You used adjectives to describe her heavy thighs and ass. And even the way you ended the post saying you'll miss her greatly, which makes me believe that over time you transformed from just using her to making love to her being your sex doll, Wendy. And I say all this as a precursor because I do believe this is what which is making me just troubled seeing these photos, because I know that you care about Wendy and that even though you cared about her, you still dismembered her body. You tore her body apart. You took photos of her to show everybody on the internet. And that, to me, that's as evil, that's as sadistic, that's as a felony, a crime as anything Jeffrey Dahmer ever did in the 80s and 90s. I didn't know much about Jeffrey Dahmer. I watched the first 2 episodes of that Netflix series, and when he opened up his fridge and there was like a human skull in the freezer, and then he had those buckets of blood like inside of his bedroom, that gave me the same like inside feeling as seeing these photos for the first time. It's like, oh, I'm dealing with a psychopath. I'm dealing with a person who got joy out of picking up roadkill and seeing dead animals as a child. You have a troubled past. I can just see that in this post. And it makes me upset with you. Because if it was just a normal sex doll, fine. You tear it up, you throw it out, you get a new one. But you wrote this Reddit post. You know everything about her. You gave her a real name. She was more than just a synthetic doll. And the fact that you were willing to tear her apart and throw her in a dumpster, shame on you. Here's the thing. Okay, you bought this sex doll to use as a cum dumpster and dump inside and on of this sex doll. You did, but no cum dumpster, even a inanimate one, deserves to actually be thrown in a real dumpster. That is wild. I cannot wrap my head around that. Even the post itself. You know, you show us these photos, which I've gone over and over and over. I'm sorry, maybe I should even blur them out. But then you write this, this long paragraph. You're telling us her name, Wendy, and you say you're gonna miss her, and you say you spent $460 on her. It just rings hollow to me, much like Wendy's actual synthetic vagina. And I feel, again, I am not a sex doll guy. I'll get into that a little bit later into this segment. I feel tearing apart a sex doll to get rid of it after you're done with it, that, no compatible, no, and that's not right. What you should have done, two options. One, you should have had a proper burial. I know you say you live in a densely populated area. I believe you could have put her in the trunk of your car, gone to somewhere in New Jersey, and found some open land to bury her in. Or two, give her to somebody else. Resell her on the open market, on Reddit or eBay. And I know what you're all thinking. You're laughing at me. You're laughing at anybody. You would laugh at anybody who would buy a pre-owned sex doll. And to you who are laughing at that, I say, look at your babe. Look at your girlfriend. Because there were other guys who were coming inside of your girlfriend before your dumbass came along. So don't be laughing at anybody who buys a pre-owned sex doll. Now, what I will allow you to laugh at is somebody who buys a sex doll for $460. Again, as I stated earlier, I am not a sex doll guy. I have not looked into the price range of what dolls go for. My gut feeling, and I am a pervert, so I do kind of have a sense of where prices should be at. $460 is like wildly underpriced. The fact that you actually got like a real doll for that price is shocking to me. Maybe that's more shocking than anything else I've noticed in this post. As I've mentioned in many, many previous episodes, you get what you pay for. This doll, is RC Cola. It's not Coca-Cola. My pervy senses tell me that you should spend no less than like $10,000 on a sex doll. Anything over $10,000, that's a sex doll you could be proud of. That's a sex doll you don't have to hide in your closet. That's a doll you could keep on your couch. And when you have guests come over and they ask you, hey, who is that? What is that? You could be proud and you say, that's my sex doll. We fuck. A $460 one, you're just cheap. You don't really deserve an orgasm. I wouldn't even entertain buying a pre-owned sex doll for $460. I know $10,000 might be a little steep, but again, we're talking about having a cum dumpster, like a real life one. If you're bored of your hand, you got to pay a premium for that. There's so much I could go into here. Well, as I mean, I'm not a sex doll guy. The closest I've ever come is I had a friend, Mike, who had a stag party before his wedding. If you don't know what a stag party is, it's kind of like a a bachelor party, like pre-bachelor party where there's a raffle and we raffle things off and we have like a barbecue. It's like a get together, but also to raise money for the groom. And I ended up wearing like a fake fleshlight, like before fleshlights were perfected. And it was like terrible rubber. I tried it out afterwards. It was like a gag gift, but I won it. So I'm like, I'll give it a go. I like to expand my sexual horizons. I tried it for like 30 seconds. It was kind of itchy. So I just went back to using my lovely hands. So but I'm not going to make fun of anybody for buying a sex doll because at one point people made fun of using like dating apps. And now dating apps are they're an integral, I don't know that word, part of the dating scene now. And I've been reading lots of articles about AI, like boyfriends and girlfriends. So I do believe the sex dolls, maybe by 2030, they might be like, no, people aren't going to be embarrassed about having them and sharing them online on like their Instagram stories. So, I'm so upset with you. Even the fact you didn't just get rid of your doll and tear her apart. In the same post, you mentioned purchasing a younger, a lighter, more firm sex dolls to use, which is, it's kicking your original doll when it's down. That's like killing her up and then twisting the knife in her. I guess it's actually tearing her apart and taking photos of it. You're a sadistic human being. I hope I never run into you in real life. I hope you stay behind the screen of the internet and you don't deserve happiness in life. I hope your current sex dolls that are in their full form are able to get away from you. I'm not sure how they would do that because they're not real people, but hopefully a lover of sex dolls can come and steal your dolls away from you because you don't deserve to have a younger and lighter weight sex doll. Let's get to some photos. Yo, we're so fucking back. Episode 36, segment 2. First segment was 17 minutes. Too long, way too long. I have noticed if my verbal graffiti episodes are longer than 22-ish minutes, I'm not able to upload them onto Instagram and TikTok, which I've been trying to do of late. Reason being that the file sizes are too big, even if I'm only putting it in 1080 HD, which I don't understand why, because on YouTube, I could put 4K videos hour long. I watch hour-long video podcasts all day, every day. No problem with those, but for some reason, Instagram, TikTok, I guess I'm not sure if I'm doing something wrong or if they just don't allow like those longer type video forms. I'm gonna have to do some research into that. And why am I talking about this inside stuff? This isn't funny. This isn't chuckles. This isn't giving you a belly laugh. It's not making you curl over. Let's get into another segment. This comes from the subreddit Firefighting. How is it working with a hangover? Does your department allow you to drink? I can't imagine carrying all the equipment with my brain thudding. How do you manage your hangover at work? Question mark. Is this a troll? Are you trying to troll all of us who read Reddit on the internet? Because I read this and maybe this is just me, but I just always assume that all firefighters are drunks and they're almost every shift they have, they're hungover. I mean, who is a firefighter? All right. It's an Irish immigrant at this point, probably, I don't know, third, fourth generation Irish immigrants. What do we symbolize Irish immigrants with? Alcoholism, whiskey. They kind of go hand in hand. They're synonymous with each other. Firefighters, drunks, Irishmen. That's the Venn diagram, and they're all in the middle. I don't have any firefighters in my family or extended family. So my whole picture of what a firefighter is colored by the TV show Rescue Me, which starred Dennis Leary, and I believe was on the channel FX around like the 2010-ish time period. And basically, Dennis Leary played a drunk Boston. Was it Boston or New York? One of those major cities. Anyways, he was a drunk firefighter, Irishman. He was a womanizer. He was a barroom brawler. He got into hijinks. It was all about the pranks. It was all about living the lifestyle more so than saving lives, climbing up ladders. And I don't know. I just assume that that's what firefighters do. Like I look at if I were to be stuck in a fire. Let's say I'm in a really high office building. I don't want to say the Twin Towers because I've mentioned 9/11 too much already. But let's say I'm in like Fifth Avenue, actually a building I used to work at, like 7 stories high. I'm on the top level and there's an office fire and I want to be saved by the firefighter who's just coming off of a binge, coming off of a 48-hour binge, who was doing shots of Jaeger, who just rolled into the firehouse and the bell rings and the fire comes. I want the guy who's hungover, who has a black eye because he got into a fight last weekend, who has the 5 o'clock shadow, who stinks of pussy, that's not of his wife's pussy. I want him because that's the guy. That's the guy I could trust. That's the guy who knows how to handle tough situations. That's the firefighter who, if the office door is like lit in flames, he's the one who will knock down the door, come in, save my lame ass, and carry me down the stairwell like the little lady in distress I am, and carry me to safety outside the building. What I don't want is a firefighter who puts on moisturizer every day and goes to bed each night at 8 p.m. and always gets 9 hours of sleep and is always hydrated and starts his day off with some type of a green smoothie that's gonna, go through his system and give him hard poop. That's not who I want as a firefighter. I want a firefighter who's a little wild, who's a little crazy, who's living life on the edge, because that's what the job is. If you're a firefighter, like you're literally going into the flames. You gotta be a little cuckoo in the head. Like a guy who can't function while he's hungover, being a firefighter is not the profession for you. Go do not even lifeguarding. Go work at an ice cream shop, somewhere where you could put like a bag of coldness on the top of your head and just kind of wallow throughout the day. Because if you're going to be a firefighter, like you're going to feel pain, physical pain. You're going to get some 3rd-degree burns. I hope you don't, but you probably are. So a hangover, that's just like doing some smelling salts. That's nothing. Like a hangover, that's just like that should be in. Like, when you go on one of those job boards and have the description of the job, like you need to know how to use Excel, you need to have management experience. Like part of the experience for being a firefighter is knowing how to work hungover and on 2 hours of sleep. And, you woke up on a futon in a room you've never been in before. That's what I want out of my firefighter. And if you're not, I mean, the more I think about it, like the whole being a firefighter, like the whole job is conducive to drinking, to being an alcoholic. Because maybe I'm wrong, but I do believe most firefighters, like they work 24-hour shifts a week, or maybe one 48-hour shift. So you're basically getting 5 off days a week. And where are you spending those 5 off days? At the firehouse. Like the actual firehouse where all the boys hang out, it's basically just a fraternity for real adults past college. And so you hang out at the firehouse all day. We've all been there. You walk by a firehouse in a city and the guys are, they're in their tight blue navy blue t-shirts. They got, they got the tattoo. They're in their computer chair that's got the wheels on the bottom, and they're kind of hollering at the babes as they walk by, catcalling them. And that's like the good kind of cat call. Babes will complain about being catcalled by like a homeless person who's missing one shoe, but like the attractive firefighter, like catcall me all day long. I'm sure that's what all ladies would attest to. And if you're just in that environment, just boys being boys, hanging out in a house, going down the pole, you got a few days off in a row. Yeah, of course you're gonna have a bottle of Jameson like in your cubby hole. Like that's just, you gotta be a drunk if you're a firefighter. And if you're not, if you're the type of guy who you're not gonna drink the night before a 7 a.m. shift at the firehouse, I don't want you in the firehouse. If you can't handle your liquor, go be a dweeb and be go to the volunteer firehouse. The volunteer firehouse department, that's for the dweebs who can't hold their liquor. Those are the people who can't hold their liquor and they end up marrying fatties, and they're the ones who ruin high school parties. If you can handle your liquor and you like to philander and be a womanizer, I want you saving me, when the flames hit the ceiling. So to the real firefighters who are drunks out there, good for you. Everybody else, go suck a fat one.